Tonight, tonight we're going to talk about the tale of two wolves. And this is really a continuous battle between the forces inside us. It's a conflict between our darker side, that black wolf, and our luminous side, that noble side, the white wolf. This duality between good and evil, for lack of a better label, between joy and pride, guilt and humility, it defines much of who we are and how we function. Some of you have maybe heard this story before, and there's, nobody knows exactly who started this, but this is kind of given to the Cherokee as a legend that they really have gotten good at telling. And there's certain references that include the oral tradition of some small groups in the southern Appalachians. Tonight is going to be a little different than it normally is, because we're going to see these two forces as they really exist in us. And not because they're separate forces that are pulling us apart, but as something that needs to teach us so that we can grow and move through them. And if you've never actually took the time to sit with either side and learn the message, ask the questions that they're kind of screaming at you about, and what you need to learn to move through the energy that they're giving you, you haven't really embraced exactly what they're doing. These are parts of us that we navigate with all the time. We have our good days, and it's easy to kind of stay up. And we have our bad days where we can get really low and we can get down there and battle our demons, really, is what we've always called them, because normally they scare the hell out of us. When we go down there and actually get in that place and that dark voice starts in our head, we usually go to places that we don't like, where we're very uncomfortable. And I'm going to challenge everybody to learn to embrace this part and get comfortable in that environment. Because if you can get comfortable with your own demons, there's nothing in the world that you can't work through. Because you've heard that voice in your head more than anybody else's voice in your life. So why fight them? Why sit there and argue with yourself and beat yourself down when we can actually just sit there across from him and learn from him? The same that we can sit with our light and sit there and learn that lesson. Our life is all about learning so that we can continually move forward each and every day. So as part of this legacy, the story starts as a wise lesson between an old man and his grandson. He explains that a terrible battle between two wolves is unleashed every day inside the hearts of men. And these two animals symbolize just two opposing forces. One is that darkness that we tend to call evil. It's anger. It's our envy, our greed, our arrogance, our sadness. It's our feelings of inferiority. And it's where our ego lives. That's why it gets hurt so much and is usually getting there really screaming at us the loudest. The other, the lightness, is the good in the world. It's a force of kindness, joy, love, hope, serenity, humility, compassion, and of course, peace. And as these two forces work within us, of course, the young grandson wants to know which wolf's going to win. And in most versions, the grandfather replies, the one that you feed will win. And that's where most of the time this story starts, because the wolf you feed the most is going to get the biggest. He's going to be the loudest. But what happens when you starve that other wolf and you don't give him the attention that he needs? That's usually when he rears up the loudest and really gets you when you least expect it. In those moments when you're at your weakest, he gets his loudest. And that's what's really driving these two wolves. The grandfather continues and he says, because the battle is not a matter of strength, but it's a battle of balance. You have to feed both wolves because you need both of them. We must guide them both along the right path. And if you visualize like a dog sled, you have both wolves running side by side. Neither one's leading the pack. They're both pulling it in a direction that you want them to go because you're working with them, learning from them. So both wolves must be present. And there's going to be moments in your life when we feel like we're on a roller coaster, where things are up and things are down. And there's moments where we're enjoying immeasurable joy. Those moments where almost like without knowing why, adversity and sadness and anger comes crashing down on us. And your life can be happy or sad. It can be benevolent or brutal. It's all about your perception of what's going on. And as humans, we weave complex stories of love and hate, serenity and loss in everything we do. Our stories are dramatic. They're huge, and that we embellish them and make them bigger than they really are because we're great storytellers. And we're all aware of that. And effectively inside us, there's always these two forces that we're hardly ever in complete control of. And yet these two forces fight this battle inside us every day. The legend goes on to say that, it's not about feeding a single wolf and starving the other. As humans, we're essentially made of that yin and the yang. It's that duality where we need to be neutral between the two so that we're using the energy and the power that they bring to us. And far from discarding or hiding either part of us, we need to take into account and make it visible so that we can see what they're doing. We can hear what they're telling us. So then we can feel the emotions and then the energy and power that they give us. The grandfather goes on to tell his grandson that if we choose only to feed the white wolf, the black wolf literally hides in that corner and stalks you whenever you go, whenever you're weak or you get caught off guard. Those moments when we get a little low, that wolf pounces on us because he's starving. And the old warrior goes to say that we should not belittle this warrior, this animal, that it's dark because it's night. That's where our mind goes with that fear that we hold inside that's only in our imagination. Because whether we believe it or not, this black wolf has so many great qualities. Your determination, your tenacity, your courage, your strategic thinking, that bravery to continue in the face of ridiculous odds. And some of the virtues that the white wolf lacks, the black wolf has. That's why we need to feed both of these to take advantage of the best of each, because they enhance their best versions when we identify their needs and train them to live in harmony. So this teaches us a valuable lesson about emotional management. We learn that distributing these forces intelligently and feeding both wolves gives us the best chance to win in life. And that's a very profound story with how that works for us. A little different than what you thought it would be like?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, like, I can see where the analogy lies, where it's like, yeah, it makes a lot of sense, and I can picture moments in my life where the black wolf kind of pounces at me a little bit, thinking I'm like thinking I'm all good, I'm like feeling good, and then all of a sudden, like one little time I slip, and then yeah, It makes a lot of sense.
It does. And when he pounces on us, it's hard in that moment to stop and compose ourselves and say, wow, what do I need to learn in this moment?
Mm-hmm.
Yet when we stop and do that, instead of reacting in a fear-based way, in a way where we're kind of at our weakest, now all of a sudden we're reacting and we're responding in a way where we're powerful because you've listened to what he said and you're feeding him the attention that he needs so that you can take and harness the good qualities that he has. And then all of a sudden that power that he brings is there beside you. And that yin and yang again is that balance back into that neutral. And you're just walking the line. You're not fighting one side or the other. When you're fighting it, it's tiresome. It's draining. It sucks the energy and the life out of you because you know there's something behind you. Now you've got them both out in front of you pulling that sled in a direction that you want to go.
And you're learning from both of them.
Exactly. And, wolves are amazing. They're intelligent, family oriented. They work together. And yet they can stand on their own. That lone wolf mentality really signifies that Sigma wolf that can go and be just like that 0.1% of the population that is an outlier. He's that outlier, but think about that animal that survived on his own all that time. He doesn't need everybody to stand with him because he stood alone all his life. And most people that are going to listen to this can relate to that. And I know you can. We're all wired different. And this is how you learn to just play with those pieces of what makes you you. When you start listening to the voices in your head and learning from them. And please realize that you guys aren't alone. I've done this my entire life and I'm 46 years old. I still fight with them from time to time. And I'm getting better. And that's all we can do as humans, just keep getting a little bit better every day, moving forward, pushing the envelope and pushing the bar of what we do. And that's what wolves teach us. When they hunt as a pack, they learn. They learn how to take down their prey in an efficient manner. They learn how to survive. And if we got back to remembering how to survive and quit stressing ourselves out about some of the little things in life, all of a sudden we've got a lot more in our tank. Mm-hmm. And that's what this is all about.
Just worry about surviving.
It makes it a little bit different, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not when life knocks you down. It's how hard did it hit you and can I get back up this time? Mm-hmm. Or do I need somebody to help me back up? And really with a new avenue that I'm moving into, that brotherhood, that's what this is all about, is helping each other pick each other up. And if more men did that and asked for help, that creates a whole new type of man out there that's even more dangerous than we all already are. Because as warriors, we're the elite few. And we set the bar for everybody else to look up to. And it makes them uncomfortable. Never looked at it in that light either, did you? Mm-mm. As men, as warriors that go out here in combat, and you've learned how to do combat, Jordan Peterson says you're a dangerous man. And you don't have to be dangerous, go out and hurt people. It's because you're the position where you can hurt people. The skills that, as wrestlers, as warriors, as fighters that we've learned over the years makes us that dangerous man. And that intimidates a lot of people, which is why they come at us like they do. Mm-hmm. They're that part of that darkness. And it's up to us just to walk that line to show them, yeah, we're dangerous, but we're a good dangerous. We're the ones that keep everybody else off you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an important lesson to take away. So great. So that's the story.
Awesome.